matches are going to result in eliminations.
The top 30 in the online competition get to enter their videos for selection into the final 8 and a chance to take home the grand prize on the Top Trader television show. 20 wildcards will also be invited to enter. Who has what it takes to be the next top trader? Investment 360 is your guide to thinking like an asset manager. Each weeknight, Bronwyn Nielsen speaks to South Africa's top fund managers about navigating through local and international markets. Our guests are recognized by their peers as the best in the industry, and we bring you their award-winning insights right here on CNBC Africa. Monday through Thursday at 7:30 Central African Time.
Welcome back to FinWeek Money Matters. A global trend that has emerged over the last few years is that corporates are looking for more and more custom education offerings. That's to help grow their staff talent. So we're looking at how this trend is changing and how corporates can approach the corporate education in a smarter manner. In studio, still with me, Jessica Hubbard, Professor Wendy Ngolmo from Wits Business School, and then Shaun Rozyn, the Executive Director for Corporate Education at GIBS. Thank you both for joining us. So Shaun, I'll start off with you. Tell us about the changes that are taking place when it comes to the approach to corporate and executive education right now.
Thank you so much. I mean, the first thing is just understanding what's happening in the corporate world, and that is a dearth of skills. We've got younger people being promoted quicker. We've got the complexities of doing business in a more globalised world. We've got technology and just competitive forces really all battling down our companies. So they're really looking for accelerated development. Maybe I'll just touch on a few points. Really, leadership, getting people to execute better. Therefore, on the strategy, managing their teams, exciting them around the vision, and then really bedding down core critical functional skills, which and Wendy and I were just discussing it. Some of the challenges in our secondary school system, and corporates having to kind of make up for it.
Yeah, we're not even going to get into that aspect of the education debate. So tell us, Wendy, from your side. I mean, what is the approach right now from Wits Business School to adapt your programs to make sure that what you're providing is what corporates need?
Right. I think first it goes with the needs of the economy, because I think any business school wants to be engaged and be plugged into what those needs are. So corporate education has indeed taken off in a big way because people are now addressing what those needs are. So on our side, I mean, we do like all other business schools perhaps in terms of customizing those programs, because the basis of it anyway is to engage with those corporates, find out what are the key issues and what needs to be done. I think the luxury of developing curriculum in isolation as universities, that has gone. Because most corporates now are saying, let's partner, let's collaborate, let's think together. And I think anyway, that's the future.
Wendy, I mean, one of the things that seems to be an issue at the moment, or maybe it's that appears anecdotally to have changed, is that people no longer necessarily want a certificate. Sorry, the company is less interested in somebody achieving a certificate, maybe an MBA course or one of those high level. They want somebody that walks out with a set of skills I can use in the same year that I've assigned somebody to improve their finance for non-financial managers, as an example. They want them to be able to apply those skills straight away. Do you think that is it a fair comment that the interest is not so much in the piece of paper, but the skills that I can use right now?
It actually goes with how you look at education as a whole, because if you train people just for functional skills and them being able to implement as they walk into the environment, chances are you're very short-sighted because you are solving a problem. Now, if you look at a bigger education that we offer, whether it is MBA degrees or finance degrees or PhDs, you're now looking at a long-term strategy, because you're training individuals that apply their minds in different scenarios. Whether you take them into banking, that finance ability, that analytical ability still applies. Whether they move from there to insurance, they're still functional in those kinds of things. So the economy needs both, nevertheless. So you need those that you can quickly train, get the managerial skills, the functional skills that are required. They can be effective on the job now. But on the other side, you need something bigger than that.
What are the functional skills, though, right now that are most in demand from South African corporates and perhaps those students coming from abroad?
Great question. I mean, the market has changed, fundamentally in the last 6 months since Marikana. We're seeing it. Things are getting tougher out there. So where, again, the previous question around, qualifications, knowledge, that's vitally important and really the stepping stones. But to the question is, well, what can you do different in the place of work tomorrow, 6 months, and 2 years down the line? That's where corporates really, coming into the custom education space. So what are those skills? Finance, commercial acumen, sales, speaking to your clients, really, bringing home that business. Good operations, how do you run an operation effectively and efficiently? And then this thing about understanding the whole business, taking people out of their functional discipline and understand how your decisions affect the bottom line of the business, both upstream and downstream. So it's really that integration. And we're hearing a lot of, one of an organization, one Anglo, one Sasol.
And Shaun, are you finding that you need to design courses or programs specifically to address needs on the continent that African leaders are perhaps lacking, or African companies need to be developing more in a more focused manner?
So huge growth on the continent, both South African companies going into the rest of Africa, and we know the names, you talk about them all the time, as well as emerging African multinationals. I just got off the phone with EcoBank, and they're looking at running a program through the countries that they operate in.
Do you have capacity for those countries, or do they have to come to South Africa?
So Wendy will, concur that there's two kind of models. You can either do the suitcase academic and go into Africa. We've chosen a different approach to partner with 3 local business schools, Strathmore in Kenya, Lagos Business School in Nigeria, and the Cairo American School in Egypt. And we're working collaboratively to share our resources and skills really on how you serve this market across the continent.
Partnerships is the way to go. Because also it's no longer a question of you bringing some intelligence that doesn't exist somewhere. Business schools now, I think, are much more in an organized form. We have the African Association of Business Schools. They are screened. Everyone who participates there is a peer. The criteria is the same. So in a way, you kind of know if you're partnering with a school in Lagos, what level of education is offered there. So that collaboration is important. But I just want to add what Shaun said. One of the discussing yesterday was some of those skills, and I think one of the things that's coming through very, very strongly is stakeholder negotiations and stakeholder relations, something we took for granted, particularly with the mining strikes and all. And people are saying, but we come out as managers, we don't know how to negotiate properly. So I just wanted to add that.
So how would you develop those skills? How would you go about designing programs or curriculums around stakeholder negotiation?
Remember, you can do a generic program called negotiations, but now you need to contextualize these things, because the mining industry on its own has got its own dynamics. So you need to be able to interact.
And are you customizing that for South African environment?
That's right. You have to customize it for the environment, for the sector. As well, go as deep as that, because the issues at Loan Mean can't be the same as at Anglo. I mean, there might be generic union matters that arise because of bargaining and all that. But there are certain things then you need to think about. What is it that you have to manager to understand when they sit across the table with the unions, for instance?
We're going to have to leave it at that. So there's certainly some interesting points that you have brought up. Thank you so much for joining us today. That's it from this week's edition. Thanks, of course, to Jessica Hubbard, FinWeek journalist, Professor Wendy Ngomo from Wits Business School, and then Shaun Rozyn, the Executive Director for Corporate Education at GIBS, and, of course, my co-host, Mark Ashton. Thanks, Mark. That's it for this week's edition. As I said, we'll see you all again, same time next week.
Innovate Africa aims to highlight Africa's